I'm a little bit late, but I've caught up in FP1. Let's get into this from a Ferrari perspective. It's a P3 for Leclerc and a P8 for Lewis. You actually have a bit of pace here, so, you know, fingers crossed, we can actually do something. But right now, that pace is only being shown with one driver, and that's Leclerc. Hamilton, he's looking like he's about 5-6 tenths off Leclerc so far. So he's still going to need to build up some confidence in this Ferrari at this track. Coming into the session, it was always going to be a bit more useful for the drivers and the engineers because, you know, track conditions are not going to be the same now compared to quali and the race. But this circuit is all about driver confidence. You know, it's fast pace, close walls. The drivers need the maximum amount of time on the circuit to get used to everything. So, you know, it's not really about the minor setup differences. It's about just building confidence, getting laps on the board, you know? So initially we were on the mediums, probably running a different practice program to the rest of the grid. We were like a second off the pace with both cars. And actually Hamilton was, you know, pretty close to Leclerc at that stage. It was when we went onto the softs though. That's when Leclerc, he started putting in some pretty good lap times going into the top 5 initially. And Hamilton was just like, he was 6 tenths off on his first soft run. Did a couple more soft runs, still 5-6 tenths off Leclerc. And by the end of the session, Leclerc had pulled into the top 3. Only like less than a tenth off Gasly's time. Yeah, shout out Gasly as well. But Hamilton down in P8, a couple tenths off. So he's still definitely getting used to things here. And hopefully in FP2 and FP3, he can just continue building that confidence so we can get into quali and be right there with Leclerc. For this weekend, we've brought our lower downforce rear wing configuration. So we should be seeing, you know, slightly higher top speeds on the straights. And that should benefit us in qualifying and also in overtaking in the race. But, you know, I can imagine that most teams have done a similar thing, right? But we'll see. The pit wall is really close to the garage in this circuit. Drivers need to kind of get used to taking it as a one turn so that they can avoid traffic, you know, when they're trying to come out quickly in qualifying or whenever. And we had Lewis actually, who had to take it as 2 turns going into reverse. So hopefully he's patterned that out for P2 and P3 and for quali. But yeah, initial feeling is that the pace is in the car, but let's see what FP2 is going to be showing us because that's going to be the more representative session.